What? Hold on, I need to turn up volume. Whoa. Ah. Okay. Breathe. Ah. Hello, everybody. Hello. Oh gosh. Okay. Dang, I wish I could stream my YouTube, but it's not working for some reason. Oh, this is loud. Let me turn up my volume just a little bit. There we go. Just a little bit. Hello. How's everyone doing? I'm the new reincarnated... Oh, oh my gosh, I should have made a PowerPoint. I'm just doing like a little Q&A, and then I might play some little games here and there. I'm not sure yet. Yeah. Let me just set up some things more. Okay. I guess I'll talk about my room for a second. Again, I'm the new Miho. There's been several before me, but I am the one. I am the current Miho. Yeah. So about me, well, I'm like a Oni V-singer, as well as streamer. Is that also loud? Hold on, just a little bit less. I really love Miku, Senryo, and stuff. I love Vocaloids, like especially. Well, Miku especially, but you know, I'm a fan of all Vocaloids. I myself I am an Utaloid, so that means I am actually also a voice bank. Not currently, this is the real person streaming, but I have a different voice. There's the Japanese brand. And oh my gosh, there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm the English branch. I'm the English branch or version. The Japanese version of me does the Utaloid. Oh gosh. About me, what else? Well, I really like cozy games. Of course. And yeah, I really like Stardew Valley, Starbound, Minecraft, games like that, like sandbox and simulation games. Also like RPGs, that's pretty fun. I'm kind of curious right now because at the moment there is a special someone's birthday. I kind of want to visit and then continue the Q&A while people join in. Let's see. Let me open. Okay. Should I post? Hold on. Okay. I need to set up some stuff as well because I thought I did everything, but apparently not. Let me see. It's like where's the announcements? There we go. Oh, their stream is now working. Okay. Oh, it's super delayed. Okay. Make it so bigger. Okay. Rule of thirds. No, that's... I just... I'm glitching. Okay. Let me save this real quick. Where did I put it? Everything's a mess. I'm always like a mess. There we go. Oh, I need the logo. Yeah, I need the logo. I don't have the logo. You may as well just set up. Hi, Jim. Hello. Whoa. Okay, where's... I need the GIF. How you doing? Okay, hold on. Sending it. Okay. You blew Oni I've never seen before. Hi, Cricket. Hello. Wink. Hi. Okay. Where is it? Never met this child in my life. I'm not a child. Banned. Okay, I haven't gotten it yet. But I'll do that logo thing. And then set up some other things. I was considering also... Oh, I'm watching Ivan's stream. And... oh no, his webcam. Maybe I should put that in the corner. Hold on, let me see this. Hold on. Where is my window capture? Okay. Here we go. Here we go. We can watch him while I fix things. Application audio settings. Meanwhile, he's having also troubles. We're all having troubles. This is how it happens. This is what happens when you want. Have you ever had a dream that you want? Oh no, he ended stream. Oh no. Most recent video. Okay. Okay. He's having issues. When you want. Okay. Hopefully he'll come back on. In the meantime. Hello. Okay. I'm back.
Now it should work.
I'm still watching the thing. Yeah, he hasn't come back online. Whatever. Okay. I still haven't gotten the logo.
Now it should work.
Oh, it's in the background. When your body is phasing out of its existence. What? Where? Oh, right there at the bottom. What? Okay. Oh, what's this clip? Hehe. Bottle body? What is that? Okay. Oh, let me turn off application audio. Oh my gosh, I'm such a mess. I'm so sorry. Yeah. If you guys have any questions for me, or if you want me to introduce myself. Bottom. Apple bottom jeans, boots with the fur. Blah. Okay. Yeah, if anyone has any questions about me, feel free to ask. I could talk about, let's see. I talked a little bit about my interests. It's kind of the same things I mentioned in the reincarnation video. Oh, he's streaming again. I'm gonna wait until I know for sure it's okay. Because it's working. Why does he have an octopus in the background? Okay, hold on. Okay, it's working.
Okay.
Hi. Okay. Happy birthday. I can't spell either.
Hey dude, I work with that person.
Oh, let me turn up the audio. It's kind of quiet. Should I put a boost? I might put a boost.
Are we dead ass?
That scared me. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Show her the ingot. Show her your ingot.
Ingot. Metal.
What metal is that? What metal is that?
Ah.
He has an iron ingot.
I'm having fun.
Oh, it's iron?
It's aluminium, and then I'm gonna get steel soon.
Liar, Striker, liar.
Dude?
It's aluminum. Is it aluminium or aluminum? I just say aluminum. I'm looking at his mess. Oh no, it's buffering. Oh, it's fine. Why is there an octopus?
Oh, the aluminum
It's a
muffin.
real
I have an ingot.
aluminum.
Do not.
I want Jolly
Will not
Ranchers.
be. Okay, buddy. Get a grip.
Nerf gun. No. What's that? What's that say? Dude. Dude.
This is amazing.
Ah.
Netherite. Netherite ingot.
Netherite. Aluminum. 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 Ah.
You're the goat. Just know that. Joey's FaceTiming me.
Oh, he's getting FaceTime.
You're in my house. Huh?
Oh, wait. Where is it? Where is it?
Oh?
Oh my gosh.
Happy birthday!
Thank you.
Are you having a good birthday?
Yeah. It's amazing.
Cute person on the phone.
I'm happy. There's your joke.
Hold on. Oh. Where is it?
What the fuck?
Did I get a... Did I get a hua?
Yo, wait a minute.
Hold on.
Oh, boom.
What is it?
Boom. Boom.
What the...
Boom. 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 Fuck the chair. What the fuck? Boom. 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 What the fuck?
Why is he fucking in the chair? My
You know what?
eyes.
Fuck it. Oh.
My eyes. I'm just trying to fix my audio.
Box cutter. Joey,
Please.
come in here.
I need a subscription
Oh, goodness.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Thank. Wa. Chirilla Kuma.
Ah!
Whoa. Oh,
Yes!
bro. Did he just rip his shirt?
That's what I'm freaking out about. Yeah! You know what, fucker?
What the fuck?
I'm angry.
Stop fucking the chair.
Boom! Mom's not out.
I am staring at his titties. His man titties. My eyes. My eyes.
Yeah.
Bro. I was not expecting this.
You wanna come say hi, Mom?
Oh.
Sure.
It's an old chair. Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, anything for the meme. I got a crop top now.
Thumbs up. Thumbs up.
Say hi.
Isn't it hard to rip shirts? I tried to rip a shirt once, and it didn't work. It didn't slay.
Come here.
Oh,
Do you want to say
oh,
thank
oh,
you for making my day?
control audio. Yes. I can control audio now.
Come closer.
Bro,
Come here, Mom. Bend, like, crouch.
uh. Hi, Evan's mom. Hello.
Say hi. Come into the frame. You don't want to come into the frame?
Well, don't force her. She's
Bye,
nervous.
Mom. Love you.
Oh. Hi, Ivan's mom. This is not how I expected anything to go.
man. I made a fashion statement.
Hi, Ginger Moon. Hi. What's happening? This was supposed to be a Q&A. This was supposed to be a Q&A. Evan's mom, is she single? He ripped his shirt and started fucking a chair.
You wanna do cake yet?
It was supposed to be an innocent Q&A stream. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna check out his stream because it's his birthday.
Don't ask what's upside down.
And I was like, oh, there's an octopus, there's Jolly Ranchers. Random tiny framed poster on the wall. And then he started fucking a chair like really, really hard.
I just don't have a shirt now.
It looked like it hurt.
You met most of them.
Okay. I relate to that moon emoji like right here. He really likes Jessica.
Yeah! That's my mom!
We met his mom as well. Oh gosh.
Bean's in the chat! Hi, Bean!
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, but I was gonna answer questions about myself because I'm newly reincarnated. So if you have any questions about me, feel free to ask. While I curse my eyes.
Oh, this is unreal. I have a headache. I'm like...
Oh my gosh. What is that on his wall? Is that oh, that's a fishing pole right here. What the heck? He's waited 3 years for that. Oh. Questions while man moves out. Yeah, that's gonna be... This is exactly how my stream is supposed to go. I thought it was gonna be all cute, innocent. I know I had the sexual content thing on because of subjects. But this is... I wasn't expecting it to be necessary, besides limiting the amount of children. Omi, what's your favorite thing about Ivan's mom? She... What is going on? Oh no! They're fucking. What is he doing? My favorite thing about his mom is that he's so hardworking. Okay, let me leave this. Okay, I have a stream in the background now. Okay, what's his mom is very hardworking. I can tell. He is being kidnapped in the background. You'll just hear the screams of the damned. If you can, it's kind of quiet. Quiet screams. Oh, he is literally being held hostage. Anyways, yeah, so I'm Umi Miho. Yeah. I am a I am a V-singer, streamer, all in one. I'm not very... Well, it depends. You'd hard work too if your kid was like that, by the way. Yes. Oh, he's trying to rip his shirt again. Yeah. I don't want to answer this. Let me get off his stream. It's distracting me. Okay, but yeah. Okay, I'm an Oni V-singer / streamer. I am newly reincarnated, so my voice is a bit different because I mean, yeah, that's how it works. But I'm still Umi Miho. We're gonna have a lot of new content coming out. Like, so expect more streams from that hiatus. Expect to like more videos and maybe songs, like covers. Oh, thank you for following. Drillakuma. I'm being haunted. Hi. The gem of eternal tomorrow, Umi Miho, scion of the waves, kneel before her. Exactly. But yeah. So I like cozy games, namely like simulation and sandbox games, and also RPGs, like MMORPGs especially. Yeah. Also, thank you for the follow. What's uh-oh? Oh no. She's gonna kiss you. Oh no. Is that a threat? Is that a threat? Ay. I love Vocaloid. I love Hatsune Miku the most. Of course I do. We both have blue hair. I heard her dad's the most wanted man alive or something. Concerned. Very concerned. I love Sanrio. I love Cimarol. Hello Kitty, of course, because they're in the background. But I have a secret love for Choco Cat. I really love Choco Cat. I bet he's like so hot and sexy and definitely doesn't bully Drillakuma or anything. I hope not. Oh yeah, and this is... Well, it's like... My room's tiny, apparently. Obviously. Like, you can see that. I deserve a bigger room. Actually. I deserve a full-size room. Right now, it is little. There's also a framed portrait of me, as you can see, because I am the most important daughter. So, yeah. Yeah, I'm Striker's daughter. Yeah. Again, Oni V Singer. It's kind of complicated. I was born from a rock. Like Patrick Star. Was he born from a rock or just... Well, he lives in a rock. I was in a rock. I'm like a geode. But like, I came from a rock. And it's like... You know... Good things come from rocks. Because rocks are the best thing. You insist on sleeping in my room because there's no dad in your... Be quiet! Shut it! No! I'm being outed. This is harassment. I'm banning father from the chat. Banned. Slash ban. Striker and the goons. Oh my gosh. Anyways, okay. Your mom did. She left a big ass rock 13 years later. You came out. Yes! That's what happened. We don't know where she is. But it's okay, because I have my dad. I hope to see her one day, but you know. I'm from the rock. I'm like a hatched rock. It's really cool. It's really cool. I was also considering playing some games. I kind of put like a little vote on Twitter, but I wasn't really sure what game to play. There's Niche? I don't know how you say it. Niche? I think it's Niche. There's Passport 2, the first game. And then I think FTL. So I was considering playing one of those games. After my little introduction. Yeah, I'm the favorite kid. It's well deserved. It's well deserved. You know? If your kid isn't Rocky, don't hit me up. Exactly. You know, my horns are practically like rocks. So like, you know, I'm superior in that way. Honestly, I should have made a PowerPoint about all my likes. I was expecting more questions, but like, you know, that's a lot. Because not everyone knows what to ask. So, like music, for instance, I like a variety of music. I like Vocaloid, of course, like anime music, specifically like utaites or whatever, like Japanese singers, and like the various genres in that. Usually it's like, it's blah, 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 blah. On Spotify it's considered, what's it called, like anime openings and stuff. So like I like that type of thing, but they're all different genres, so I don't know how to place them. I really like new metal. I like what else? Like indie, kind of like alternative stuff. Twitch is uncharted territory for goons. Yeah, I couldn't get the YouTube to work on like restream because I need like the email, and I think that's a different email. Because when I go through my account, it does the base channel and it doesn't let me choose a delegate channel to like stream to. So like I tried posting on Utao. No, it isn't. Utao. It's Uta. Utao means to sing. It's not Utao. It means it's Japanese. It's not Utao. I'm being gaslit. You know what to stream, I'll let you know. Okay. But yeah, so this is like my first time streaming. As I almost said Uma Musume. As Umi Miho, not Uma. I'm telling Teto on you, no. This is harassment. This is awful. I could talk a little bit about my life, a little bit. It's pretty nice. Period. It's pretty cool. I also like doing art and stuff, but I'm not gonna be streaming that. I do it as a hobby. Yeah. What else? I haven't thought this far. I should have prepared like a script. Okay. Like today, or not today, it was like yesterday. I went to this claw machine place and we won like 4 plushies out of 25 tokens. So we did pretty good because like considering some of the crane games, they had like, you need to put like 4 tokens in just to try. Dojins? I don't know dojins. I don't read dojins. I read fanfics. I insist they're mostly wholesome. I don't know dojins. I only know one. I know one. Metamorphosis. I didn't say anything. Okay, between Miho and Lakota, who do you kiss more and why? Probably Dakota. She needs more support. What's 24 times 6? I don't fucking know. Sorry. Do frogs like you? Yes. They run away, and then if I grab them, they pee. But like, you know, they like rotate in like soil. They like the soil. I would want to keep them, but like I'm not allowed to keep them. Yeah, I'm banned from keeping them. I love frogs. Are you scared of bees? Not really. Kind of. Like if they get close to me, I'm like, no. But like I don't run away too much. Where were you on the tonight that is... What? Tonight that is tomorrow? I don't know what that means. That's like cryptic. What's 24 times 6? I don't know math. I was born from a rock. I didn't come learning math. Math is a forbidden knowledge. I'm not allowed to learn that. I don't know why, but like, my instincts tell me that math is bad. It's like evil. What else? What else? I really like crayons. They smell nice. They smell really good. Like, it's tempting to bite them, but like, I don't eat crayons. Whoever said that is wrong. I don't eat crayons. But they smell really good. For me, for clips. Bro. This is harassment. Okay, you can take clips of me. That's fine. That's fine. I need clips. I need clips. Please. Please. Clip me. Please tell me I'm entertaining and funny. I'm not even funny. I am cute. And I sing and that's it. I can eat all the crayons I want. Hell yeah. I mean, also fruit punch with me. And it's really good. I love fruit punch. I don't like skeletons in Minecraft. I hate them so much. They scare me and they kill me every single time. Like, nothing else kills me as more as like skeletons. Like, everything else is fine. Just skeletons I hate. I also hate mosquitoes. They love me. They think I'm sweet. They are attracted to me. I hate mosquitoes. I hate them so much. Worker. Work. How do you say that? Like, boiga. 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 Like a New York accent? I can't even do that. Yeah. Oh, and should I put... Hold on. I need to add something. Yippee, there we go. I'm gonna make this bigger. There we go. Bigger is better. I mean, what? Are you worried about the chemicals in the water that turn the freaking frogs gay? Do you understand that? Turn the freaking frogs gay. Gay frogs. I'm very concerned because the local frog population is decreasing. I haven't seen a frog in so long. You hear them sometimes, but like I don't hear them anymore nearby. There's like a lot of frogs and like toads. But like nowadays, no. So I am very concerned about gay frogs. Frogs gay. Gay frogs. I mean, nothing against their lifestyle. Nothing against their lifestyle. But like, the frog population has decreased. Are you the princess of pillows? Yes. I like pillows. I like pets. I like pillow pets. This is not sponsored. Yeah, I like to lay there on a pillow like everyone does. They're very cushiony and soft and they're ideal for sleeping. And if you could call me a ruler of pillows, then I would be the princess. So like, yeah. I guess I am. I guess I am. I guess I am. Hold on. Hold on. I was tempted to get some like Hershey Kisses downstairs, but like then I have to leave my chair and I'm kind of lazy for that. And then I'd have to pause stream, which is lame. Which is lame. Look at my little fangs. I have little fangs. That's cute. That's actually cute. Never noticed them before, but now I do, because I'm looking at myself. Ah, I just burped. Let's see. I read a lot of fanfic. because I'm guilty. That is my life. And like Otome games, I like a lot because I'm guilty. Okay, they're kind of spicy, but like they're fun and they're sweet. And I like the sweet parts. The spice is a bonus. But like I don't do further than that. That's as far as I go because I'd rather not. I don't know, it's like I'd rather not curse my eyes. I mean, I can handle it, but like, you know, it's like embarrassing. Ah. 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 I don't know what else to talk about. Okay. Should I stream? Let me get my thing going then. So Niche is kind of a cool game. I used to watch it when I was little, like the betas. Oh no, it's full screen. I can't see you guys. Oh my gosh. Settings. Graphics. Okay. No full screen. I need the window view. Okay. Okay. Give us your best blah! 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 Blah 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 blah. 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 Hee hee. I can blah. Okay. Mama. Yeah, so I'm a princess of pillows. I'm a pillow princess. Oh gosh. Let me put on the music for this. Let me change over. Oh, I forgot to change the display. Am I cutting out? I know what a pillow princess is, I swear. I know these things. I know. Oh, the Umi chat. Okay, hold on. Where is my game capture? Boom! Boom! There we go. Let me switch games, because it's not... It says it's just chatting, so I need to switch. Okay, okay. Niche. Okay, I need to go to Twitch to do that because it won't let me. Nice. Here we go. Boom, boom, setup. Switch to low quality noise suppression. Okay. Interesting, I'm learning. It's just like, there's a lot of noise in the background. Not right now, but like dogs barking, me adjusting my chair, keyboard. So it's like, I need to choose when. Also, I know what a pillow princess is. Yes. I do know. I know what you mean. I know. Okay. Let's play... What's this do? Credits. Oh, interesting. Play. New game. Let's do... Story mode. Freaky Miho. Ooh, freaky. Why is my... Hold on. I need to move my model a little bit. Okay, this is the story of Adam. Also, why? Why? I'm cut off at the bottom. Oh, okay. Evil creature. Evil. Uh-oh. Evil creature. He has the kitty. Oh my god. The kitty. Lone kitty. Sad kitty. Very depressed kitty. Beat his ass. He got him. But now he's alone. He's alone and afraid. And he doesn't have his family. He's a little boy. He's little. Look at him. Oh, he's kind of ugly. But he is beloved. How does that hurt? You're all alone, stranded on an island far away from here? Okay, I can turn. Click. These do the same thing. Click on Atom to select it. Oh, okay, WASD works. Okay, this is kind of weird. Select. Let's get him. Okay, does he need food? How do I know if he needs food? My Crayola box is kind of covering everything. Okay, 20 food. I'm kind of covering it. Oh my gosh, I'm figuring this out. Okay. Try and see if you can still walk. Let's go to the paw symbol. Oh, flowers. Action points. Okay, those are the gems. He has 1 gem and I just used it. So now he's sleepy. He eepy. Click on the end day button. Where is the... Oh. Okay. He is big boy now. He grew. 1 food per day. Okay, it's right here. That I'm covering. I should probably move. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. There we go. Now you can kind of see. Okay. Select Atom. Find a berry bush. Okay. Collect the fruits. Okay, we need... Okay, lifespan. Adam is 3 days old. He is a teen. Where's the flower? Flower part. Reeds? Okay, these are the flowers. Why am I confused? Why am I actually confused? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna clear this. Pointy travels. Oh, these are the flowers. I'm so stupid. I thought these were flowers. So this is a deserted island. There's no one here. So we need... Oh, we could travel farther now. Sleep? Okay, this is a big island. We can only move like 2 steps. Sleep? Go. Yes, that's apparently we're the only animal left. Okay. Sounds like animals are living on this island. Okay, there's someone of our species. We could talk our senses. Use all our senses to find members of the species. Okay. So this little icon in the bottom right, that's kind of cut off. We need to use it to find. Okay, first of all. Species! Hello, Eve! Pretty little lady. Oh, she's so cute! Colonize them. It's just one lone member. I can control Eve now? Shake that tree. Nut. I don't like the nut action. comes all over you. Sorry. I mean... Hee. Let us nest. To nest. Okay, we have our actions. What happened? Banish from your tribe. Mate. They must fuck. Reproduce. Reproduction time. Okay. She is in the nest. So I'm going to make her just nut. Crack the nut open. Crack a nut open. That's more food. Item. Collect some more food. We need a lot of food. We need to prepare for the children's. Okay. What is this? I can't crack open nut. Why? Oh, is there something in the way? Click on the newborn. Oh, ugly little skin creature. What are you? He is... Why do you look like that? Why? He's pink. Pink boy. Click on the newborn. Where's the newborn? Click on the newborn. Press the paw. Skills, okay? Whoa, dubious little creature. Exactly. This is no good. No good at all. Each animal has its own set of skills. The number below each skill icon show an animal skill. Okay, we have swimming. And we have speed. It can move one space. Ah, yes, the egg and sperm. The fertility, high fertility. Collecting. Okay, we have nimble fingers. We have gross little human hands. Fun twin, you the goat. Thank you. How many resources can be collected? Okay, so we can collect 3. We have 2 strength. The venomous, so we have little venom things. That's cute. 2 eyes. Immunity to sickness. Okay, we have immunity B. Hearing, we have 3, so that's pretty good. We have resistance to poison because of our poison fangs. And 1 stealth, 1 defense. Okay, because of big body. Okay, open the gene tab. What are your genetics? This is complicated. What is this? An animal's DNA consists of many traits. Okay. Complete dominance versus incomplete dominance. Co-dominance. Okay. Red fur, white fur. So these 2 are incomplete dominance. They blend, so that's why you're pink now. That's why you're pink. Okay. No melanism, no albinism, medium tail, hind legs, okay. Nimble fingers and a runner's leg, so you have both. Big body, primary. So you're gonna be big as fuck. Okay, crack open the nut. Shake the tree, get the nut. Crack open the... Oh, you can't crack open the nut. Low cracking ability. Okay. Get some of this. The internet. Okay, they both asleep. Baby is baby, so he baby. Yeah, he stay baby. Oh, he has 1. What is this? Oh, and then he sleeps. Crack open a nut. Mate again. Let's make more children's because we need more children's. You get more food. You shake a tree. Okay. Yellow baby. Oh, he looks different. He looks kind of like his mom. But why is he jaundice colored? What are these colors? Chat, what? Red horns, black horns? He's gonna get horns. He has genes for horns, so he has yet to get horns. Because he's still young. Crack. Okay, you gather more. You crack open a nut. Travel over here. Oh, there's... What is this? Oh, remove the grass. He a little different. Oh, this is where we got the hands. The claws. And the nimble fingers. The creepy little raccoon hands. So they have raccoon hands, but they have regular paws because of this guy. Okay, I think I'm getting it now. So we need to bring them to the flowers in order for everyone to go. So first we need to wait for this one to grow up. Oh, he is grown up. So first go here. You go here. You here. Child, you are alone and now you must suffer for it. Touching grass, my name must be grass. I'm not touching anyone. I mean... Hee. Okay, you... Oh, you have swimming paws. It's fine, you can choose not to use your energy. I don't think there's any threats on this island yet. Rabbit. Okay, and now... Port fields, okay. Now we can travel with all of our members. Okay, I'm kind of remembering how this goes. Okay, I thought those were threats. The eerie moving grass. I'm the threat. Look at me and my Poison Fang family. Clear. Low digging ability. That's interesting. Clear. Clear. Move. Move. Clear. Clear. Move. Everyone touch grass. Okay. Everyone is sleepy. There might be threats on this island, so we need... Oh, I heard... Okay. Okay, that's what I heard. Okay, let's go. Collect. I'm using my senses. Trying to get nest material. Nest material? Nothing. You can't make me touch grass! Yes, I can! By the power of believing. Okay, they're sleepies. Okay. We're making progress. Rock. The Rock Johnson. Yes, I can! Yes, I can! Please. Okay, let's get some more fruit. And some grass. More grass. You travel a little bit. Okay, we're slowly traveling. We have a food resource right here. You make progress this way. What's this? Berry bush. Oh! Wait, incest? I don't want that. Go. That'll be bad for our genetic population. Clear away foliage. Gets that cleared. What is that? I don't know what that is. Is everyone done? I think so. Black and white is helpful. Oh, there's more creatures. Okay. Let's clear that. You go this way. We need to explore more. Go. Go. You, child, stay behind and collect some fruit. Okay, we're out of fruit. Go move there. Genetic. What did I hear? Wow, their heads spin around. Okay. Travel? Oh, another thing? There's two places we could go. I like this place better because we're closer anyway. Go this way. Gather, gather, gather. Travel back this way. Is that everyone? Yeah, they're not spinning their heads anymore. Travel, travel. Okay. Can we move? Okay, we can kind of move. Kill. I want to kill. Destroy. Oh, I can only move short space. Okay, you come this way. Okay, we're taking up a lot of food. Surround him. Claw him. Okay, collect food. Okay, that takes a lot of energy. Is that a... What the fuck are you? Who are you? Who are you? What the fuck? Is that a... That's a bear. Get the fuck away from the bear. You go this way, go this way, go this way. Stay here. The fucking bear is moving. The fucking bear is moving. We can't see him. He is... Okay. What about destroying? Kill. Destroy. Yes. I will kill. Also, hi. Hi, Stereo HD. Hello. How you doing? Is it stereo or stereo? Okay, everyone on the fucking flowers. You collect a bunch of food. Travel. Travel. Everyone's coming with. Everyone is coming with. Yippee. Okay. Oh my god. Do we want to live here? This looks nice, but there's also a lot of water. What is that disgusting cactus plant? We need more nest material. That's not a nest. We need to find... What the fuck? Grab the eggplant. Disgusting. Little... Disgusting. He hurt us! The baby! He got hurt! No! Wait! Okay, gather some food. Go this way because that's gonna hurt us. So we need to go around. Stario. Stario. Okay, okay, okay. Yay! Okay. Can only be attacked from behind. He's watching us. He's evil. Okay. Next day. I'm hoping another species pops out at us. So we can make friends and sex. I mean... mate. Okay, you attack. 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 Why? That didn't even kill him. Oh, nest! Why did it squelch? Why did it squelch? Hi. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm the very sleepy artist. Nice. Okay. Kill. Get the food. And then sleep. He's sick! Infected by leech! Groom it with another animal. Okay. Don't mate. Don't mate. Please. Okay. Lick to cure bleeding. Remove parasite, lick to cure bleeding. New lure. Eve is... Poor Eve is also close to death. The child is dead. The child. Step on his corpse. Grab the money. Oh, we got sick. We got sick. Because we're on a corpse. Oh, okay. I didn't know this is so involved. We need to find more people. Because otherwise we're gonna die out. Oh, they died together. That is so sad. Alexa, play something sad. Play sad music, sad sounds, lo-fi, sad sounds, 10 hours, rain sounds. Oh, thank you. I think that's all, Striker. Okay. You go. That's a fucking bear. That's a bear. Oh my god. Go this way, please. You collect. Go this way. Why can't you move so fast? Okay. It's just you two now. Okay, me too. I listen to ASMR. Iron Boy is in game. Collect. And then go this way. Oh, there's fruits. Okay. What is this? Okay. Nothing. Use our senses. Okay. What is that over there? Is that another bear? It's a weird thing. I'm gonna go over there. Nest. Okay, a nest is good. Oh shit. Oh shit. He's following us. Harmless termite. Okay. Like insects. Okay, this is dangerous. That thing is gonna kidnap us and our children. Sign here, here, and here. What is happening? What is happening? Okay, continue. Continue this way. You go this way and this way. We need... they're about to die. We need to find someone. There's too much grass. We should have made more children. This is bad. This is real bad. What is happening? Okay. My children are gonna die. Okay, we need you to go back, forward, forward. Get some food and then run because it's coming for you. Luckily the high grass I think hides us. I'm not sure. Also, hi everybody! Hello! If you guys have any questions for me, feel free to ask. I am the reincarnated Umi Miho. Yeah. Oh, hold on. Next day. We are close to death and I don't like that. I really don't like that. Run. I always run into that stupid rock. I do look at chat and say that in my head. Okay. Run. How many dad kisses can Umi handle before her mind breaks? Plenty. I have a strong mind. Okay. We found a nest. The fucking bird. There's another fucking bird. Run. What is that? Cactus. We need to get out of here. Wait, what the fuck? What are you? Who are you? Evil being, Beryana. We need to get around. Okay, we are screwed because we're gonna die. That was the end. Restart game, same bloodline. Okay, let's try again. If when Umi is headed to the Lawson chicken store and it's 25 miles away and she is at 2 miles an hour, how long until she gets to Lawson's to eat chicken? I can't do math. Please. Okay, start over. Same bloodline. Howell and Takir. Are you children's? What is your bloodline? Mutations? Let's do mutations. Ugly snout. But good smelling. Let's do a short snout. And... let's do... hind legs. Did these work? No, it didn't. How did I do this? I have no clue. Whatever. Okay, let's try again. Explore. Sticks. This guy can go far. Oh, the sticks make noise and things get alerted. Okay, let's go this way. Keep going. Two. They only have two. Go. Bum 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 bum. Mama. Okay, we tried and then move this way. I don't know if you two are related. We can't have that. I think. Oh, you guys, never mind. That's fine with you. That's fine with me, actually. You two can mate, but you need a nest, unfortunately. I think. What? Okay. You already mated? Okay, you mated. Go. Oh, I'm stupid. I need to go to the rock. Travel. What's segs? What do you mean? Will there be segs? What do you mean? I can type to it, yay! Oh, that's a kind of threat? I don't know, it looks spiky. Build nest. Who is the girl? I don't know. Howell is the girl. Howell? Okay, destroy this next. Mentioned breeding. There's not visible. It's not visible. It's just a heart. So don't worry. Let's see. Oh, they had child. There it is. Now leave child. And collect foods. Cactus? It's a cactus. From Stingy thing. See, this area is huge. How are we supposed to get across? And we have to swim across? No, we have to... Oh no, there's spikies. Okay. I keep the black and white on because it allows me to sense better around me. Oh my gosh. Okay, child is awake. Child. Okay, too young to collect toxic berry bush. We can't have that. Oh, he's cool. He's red. Let's see the colors. You two are cool. Look, he's red and he has spiky fangs, but he has terrifying eyes. He's like a demon. Little demon. Go this way to protect you. Regain nest material. Get some food. Oh, don't collect from there. Nest. We need these two to go around. And we need more children than last time because that didn't work. Oh gosh. Okay, breed. Cowell needs to go in here. That's toxic berry bush. Okay, we don't need that. Fish! What the fuck? Grab that fish. Collect the fish. You go in the nest. We have another child. Oh, they're sick. They're sick. Okay. Due to low immunity, it was infected by another animal. Okay, low immunity, I guess. So that child is probably gonna die. We don't want that though. We need to go across. And then go here. Fish swarm. He's kind of in the way. And we don't want to end a turn in water because we might, like, die. That might be bad. Irelin might die just because, yeah. There's another nest here. So we could go here, here. Swim here, go here, breed. Okay. Swim here, go here. Child needs to start going this way. Because he is left alone. Or she. They're all starving. These are all poison though. Another person! Rami. Start a harem. Harem. Whatever. No? Wait. Where did he go? Bush. Go this way, go this way. We need to find something. End turn, we're gonna die. They're all starving. It's only poison berries! Dude! Well... yeah. Okay, go this way. Go this way. They're all poison berries! Please! Okay, you go there. What is this? Okay, we need you to go here. Okay, we might be fucked. There's more holes. Okay, next turn, we're starving again. Someone might die. Oh, Arlen is gonna die really quickly. Oh no. Nest material. We don't need nest material. We need fish. There's another nest. Toxic berry bush. No, we're stuck here. Toxic berry bush. These are bad fruits though. And they'll poison us, and everyone's gonna die again. Destroy. There you are! Just collect nest material. Fish, try to fish. That failed. Okay. What do you mean a music getting stuck in places? That's no. No. Okay. Offer 5 food. Okay, now we have another person. You. Okay, someone needs to catch those damn fish. Get those fish. Get those fish. We need as many fish as we can. Destroy the local trout population. Cowell might die. Are you a girl? You're a girl? Okay. So we need Takir with Rami or Donro with Rami. Or someone. Rami? Go here. What do these do? I don't know what these do. Takir? Well, I don't know what happened to... Okay. Donro. Takir. Mikuro. Takir was the original. Takir... Mate. And then run away. This is... Bruh. Okay. And then... Nest material, and then you... Just survive. And then... Next day. Did it just snatch? Or who died? Wait, she died. The fucking bird. We all need to run. Except it's in the fucking way. See, oh. He's dead. And the baby's like there. Donro might die soon. Takir, where's Takir? Where the heck is Takir? Takir's dead. Probably. And so is, the other one. Hi Ninja Sensei. 6'9". Hi Mimi Yanagi. Hello everyone. How you guys doing? We're playing Niche, and I'm struggling to not kill the entire population. It is actually very difficult. Okay. Travel. Regular berry bush, finally! Okay. Come on, we need you. Toxic berry bush. I don't want the toxic berry bush. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Okay. Everyone's like gonna die from hunger. They died! And everyone's sick! You get out of the nest. Into the hole. We need fuck. Okay, mate. Collect. The bird is in the way. I don't like the bird. Toxic berry bush, that's bad, but it's something. Find food for us, please. You failed. Who are you? Donro, you're a failure. Failure, Donro. Oh my gosh. Okay. They're all sick. Okay. You're the one doing the best. You're still close to death. There's so many dead ones. Oh my gosh, so many of y'all are dead. What is this? Toxic? Stop being toxic. Stop. I don't want the toxic berries. Taro, it is your time to shine. And then Rapiro. Can't swim. Oh, he has... No, he can swim well. They're all starving. We didn't even find any food. That's bad. I didn't want to stop on that thing. Oh gosh. Donro might die. Your mom died. Everyone's dying. This is terrible. Okay. Just go over there. Try to be safe. Grab the berries. What the fuck is that? Ew. Is it an evil bird? Kill the bird. Kill the bird. Oh, he is right there. He alerted his mom. Which tile are you over? This is hard to tell. Everyone's dying! Everyone's dying! This game is hard. Uh-oh. Creature! Creature. Kill the baby. Kill. Toxic berry bush. Okay, grab this. Oh, why are you so useless? You need the berries. Offer 5 food. We need 5 food. Fine. Taro. Mate with this porcupine thing. Hi, Dan X Taco Uwu. Hello. How you doing? How you doing? Me when I see creature. Me, creature, me. Oh, she can't even gather well. Okay, that's kind of bad. Go this way. Everyone's gonna die. Uh-oh, Taro's gonna die. Oh my gosh. Taro. Ropiro's our only hope right now. Kill. Okay, go this way. You also need to go this way. Try to collect berries. You failed every single time. Oh my god. Oh, it's nice to be cozy. Also, we just lost everyone. We just lost everyone. And you failed again. You're so terrible. Run. 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 How are you gonna gather anything if you don't have the skills to gather? Try again. Exit the main menu. Let's try again. New game. New game. Sandbox mode. Let's do story mode. Wait, this is supposed to be for beginner players. This is hard. Let's try again. Let's try again. I can do this. I can do this. I swear. I swear. Skip intro, we know what happens. Little Adam, we know. This time we'll need much more food. Okay, I know. End of day. Berry bush collect. Adam is my pride and joy. Look at him. Look at him. He's so little. Come on. Move to the flower port. I'm trying to get as much as I can. Okay, run. Nimble feet is really useful, actually. We need, like, those high movement stats. Okay. Oh, you're supposed to go this way. Okay. Boop-a-doo. Okay. Child. Eve. Oh, she's like a little cat thing. You look strange. You don't even have a cat nose. You have like a dog nose. Build nest. Oh, you have terrible berry catching. That's bad. Collect some materials, I guess. Collect. Click on the newborn. I don't want to do that. I already know. Fine. Okay, skills, genes. Blah, blah, blah. What tab? This tab. Mutation. Mutation slot. Select a gene and confirm the mutation. Where do I confirm? Because I tried it last time. No horns? Runner leg. Let's do runner leg. And then where's... Oh, there's confirmed. It's covered by me. And my mic. Is this a survival game like RimWorld? It's kind of like a genetic survival game. A little bit. It's not as complicated as RimWorld. But it's still kind of like... It has its own thing. You try and keep your species alive. Simply. And move islands. Collect berries. You can't mate. She's caring for her baby. Oh. Okay. As she proceeds to leave her baby. Attack. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Clear a foliage. Baby child. Too young to collect. Go this way. Go this way. Go this way. Mate again. Try to collect berries. Fail. Collect berry. We need more children's. Umi would know how to be a good mom. Maybe. Maybe. I wonder. Oh. That's bunny place. Destroy nest. Let's go this way. Collect berries. Dig up food. Okay, that works. We have good digging paws. Okay. Go this way. You go this way. Oh, you can run really far. And then you're kind of useless. You can only move one. But like, you're baby. You tiny baby. Oh, he's like a shit-covered baby. Look at him. What's under here? Everyone get on the pillars. Yes, travel. We'll find out 9 months. Oh my god. No, not yet. Hold on. You can't fish. Try to fish. Oh, you got one. I think. Maybe. Let's use our senses. Okay, there's a nest. Okay, mate, and then get some food. You gather. You can still... Okay, you can move pretty far too. You gather food, gather nest. You move here and... Oh, we can't... No more food. Just gather nest material. Oh, that failed. Okay, oh, yellow baby. Look at the yellow baby. Simba. Dig. Gather food. Gather food. Gather food, you do. And then we need more food. We need a lot of food to care. Okay. This is a nice island, but we need more genetic differences. Move. Move. Mate. Get some nest material. Get more food. You travel. Okay, we can't really see. It's kind of hard to see. Boopy-doo. Okay, it's raining. Gather some food. Move here, move here. Move. Let's see, move here. Keep going. Everyone needs to start moving. Tiny baby also needs to start moving. Also yellow baby. Another yellow baby. Okay. Go. 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 And you are the one we're waiting on. Oh, she could swim well, but it might drown. No, because it's a barely need water. Let's go. Let's go! Okay, VTuber armpit enjoyer? Why am I not getting these notifications? What? Armpits. Okay, you travel. Oh, it's like sand. I don't like the squelching. That's the VTuber guy. The armpit man. He must be famous. Let's gather your berries. Everyone move. Everyone needs to move. Okay, there we go. Oh my gosh, this is giant too. Our best bet is getting to this one. Mom. Okay. Gather foods. We're low on foods by a lot. Everyone needs to travel. Toxic berry bush. We don't want that. Toxic berry bush. Again, we don't want that. Good berry bush. Move this way. Oh, what is that? Evil looking thing. Uh... Dang it. Let's get some food. We have a lot of people needing food. Evil! Evil armpit! Armpit enjoyer. Armpit man. Evil armpit. Hello, hello. Ay! Wet. Wet. Wet bad. Whoa. What is that noise? Okay, we need to get food. Eat healing plant. Oh, it's a good plant. It's a good plant. Gather. Gather. Eve, we need you over here. Come back, Adam. Go. Mate. Okay, then we have to keep going. Exactly. Because I'm the best. I'm the best. Okay. And then you... Oh, there's a parasite. Get that parasite. That's free food. What happened? I heard a shaky shake. Healing plant. You go to the healing plant. Eat healing plant. Go here. What kind of bush is this? Evil, toxic bush. Gather food for everyone. You have to manage our resources. Go this way. What is this? Is that toxic plant too? Dig root. Oh. Parasite. Oh, buttfuck ugly. Hello. Hello. I guess you... Fine. In front of your husband. Offer 5 food. Now you have to find us stuff. That's toxic. Oh no. Is that regular food? I don't remember. Baby is still babying. Let's go clear this. Oh, that failed. Okay, we are low on food. Someone's gonna starve. Oh, we got some food. Someone's still gonna starve. Who's gonna starve? Y'all starve. Oh, and he's dead. First off, you move. There's a crab. You go here. Clear foliage. Clear foliage. Toxic berry bush. Okay, collect some food here. We need to find more food sources. Okay, berry bush, regular berry bush. Okay. Parasite, like the maximum. Oh, I watched that. That's such a good show. I watched it twice. Dig. Oh, it's on land. Kill it. Kill it. Kill. Oh, you failed. You're not the best at whatever. Okay. We have just enough food, and now we're back to 0. He's bleeding! Destroy. Destroy. That failed. Okay, we need to start moving. Another healing plant. Okay, good berries. Collect berry. Go this way. Call wild animal. It failed. Collect berry. Go this way, collect berry. Okay, this is getting difficult. Evil armpit. Okay. Collect berry. Eve is gonna die next round. This is bad. Okay, the bones are fine right now. You're gonna starve. Collect some food, Elra. Collect some food. Collect food. And we need to kill this thing. Kill. Kill. Okay, we tried calling again, it didn't work. Get some berries. Try going this way. We need to get over this side. This is actually really difficult to manage. There's a fucking bear and a thing. This is terrible. Okay, we're probably gonna get damaged. Hana. Elra's gonna die. I heard a bunny. We can't reach it in time. She's gonna die next round. We need to kill this thing. Okay. The bear. Eat the healing. Peaceful bear. Peaceful bear. Okay, it's a nice bear. It's a nice bear. Offer 3 nesting material. This ammo's replete. Dig. Get some food. Get this. You get food. Okay, it's gonna always watch. Get some food for everyone. We need mate. Food. Okay. Go this way. You go where? Mate. Peaceful bear is peaceful bear. Very nice. Okay. Build nest. Isicle. Okay, you can mate as well. get some of this. You get some of this. You get some of this. You get some of this. Okay. Day 28. Peaceful bear. A male. Rogue male. Oh, they made it? Okay. Okay. Can I invite him? He also is very ugly. Why do they look like this? Oh, he's gone. He disappeared. It's too late. Oh, no. Rogue male. Can I build a nest? No, just get food. I can get food. You get food as well. Oh, the ugly baby. They're so ugly. They're both so ugly. Okay. What do I do? Okay, get some of this. Ugly kids. They're so ugly. They're both so ugly. The fathers are not any better. Okay, you, rogue male. How do I get you in? I think there's too many of us. That's why we can't do anymore. Okay. Dig. Oh! Are you pretty? You're ugly. You're very ugly. Kanuru. That's fine. Join. Oh. Mate. We're gonna have a lot of ugly people. But that's fine. It keeps our population high. Did I hit 50? Oh. Interesting. I don't think they're real followers though. I think they're fake. So I need to like clear. Hold on. I'm gonna clear them after. Cause I didn't get any follow notifications. Yeah, they're bots. Unfortunate. Go this way. No more food. Oh, the rogue male really likes them. Oh, she died of starvation. That's okay. That's not okay, but like, I tried my best. I tried my best. No more food. Okay, collect this. There's a lot of food around here. Whack. Exactly. It's pretty whack. Let me see. Okay. Dig. Go this way. Kill. That failed. Okay, you need to go here. There's no plants there. Destroy. That failed. Get some foods. You... Just go. You get some foods. What else can I do? This way, go this way. Yeah. Baby. Oh, he's dead. This one's also dead. Okay, there's a nest over here. Okay, go this way. You also need to go this way. Oh. Kill. Berry. Okay, we're gonna die of starvation. Yeah. Collect. Scratch, scratch. I don't see the mother anywhere. The poor thing. I guess, but it's free food. Go this way. Oh, rogue male. More death. Oh, these have a lot of health. Oh, dig up seafloor. Oh, there's a thing. Screams sound like Kiara, Takanashi Kiara. That's kind of funny, actually. Okay, we need clear this. Uh-oh. The fucking bird! Oh, the male and Remy. Oops. Healing. That's poison. That... okay. Survive. Go this way, this way. Collect food. Everything's blocking the way. Okay. Collect food. Weird. Chihuahua found dead on island. More to follow. Nella. Okay. Can I kill it? They have so much health. What is that? Is that... oh, that's another one of those. I'm struggling to get off this island. I've died. Come on. The stupid bird was fed. Come on, and you need to go too. Get the food. Go this way. Is there anything we could do? No. Okay, I tried. Okay, there's just these two. Remy, Kanuru. Remy and Remy. There's two Remys. They're both females. Okay, we're kind of screwed. Go this way. You go this way. 2 food is all we need right now. But then Berry. Oh, we got lucky. Child. Okay, go this way, go this way, go this way. Okay, there's nothing. Punch child, I'm struggling. Remy from Ratatouille, there's 2 of them. Okay, collect. Let's sniff out. Oh, there's a peaceful bear. Okay. Is that a... Yeah, those are good berries. There's nothing over here. Oh, terrible. This is bad. Collect berries. I'm trying my best. Twitch dead for a second. Wait, did it die? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, she's dead. We're gonna die again. What is that? Termite mound. Berry bush. We're gonna die. And you can't dig? You're not very helpful. Okay, this way. Oh, yeah, we're just left with 1. I think we need to restart. But, okay. We're gonna die. Berry bush, you need 1 at least. And you failed. We can't. You're gonna die. And you failed again! You're dead. Restart, same bloodline. This is so difficult. Okay. No dig, no life. Okay, with that, I'm gonna end here. Thank you guys so much for watching. All my links, well, most of them, are in the description below for Twitch in my About Me. And yeah, I'm gonna see you guys soon. I have yet to decide when I'm gonna stream next, and then I'll make sure to post it on Twitter. So thank you guys so much for watching. And bye bye. Bye. Blah blah blah.